Well, one skill that we should definitely have on board is how to convert from degrees to radians or vice versa from radians to degrees. And the process is really simple. Well, for our major angles, our key positions around one rotation, we should know pretty handily without having to go through and do a whole lot. For example, we should know right off the bat that 360 degrees is exactly the equivalent of 2 pi radians. You should know right off the bat that 90 degrees is the equivalent of pi over 2. You shouldn't even have to do a conversion to figure that out. 180 degrees would be the equivalent of pi radians, and so on. All right, so what do we do with this? Let's say we've got an angle in degrees. Let's find an angle in degrees, one that we like. How about this? Let's convert 80 degrees to radians. How should we do it? Well, the method is pretty straightforward. To convert 80 degrees to radians, we're going to take that 80-degree angle and we're going to multiply it by the fraction pi over 180. And the good way to think about this is if you remember about converting units, this is degrees in the numerator, this is radians in the numerator, this is degrees in the denominator, this is radians per degree. So it is 80 degrees times pi radians for every 180 degrees. So the degrees is going to divide out. So we're going to get a fraction like this, 80 pi over 180, and we should reduce it. We should always reduce our fraction. So if we reduce by dividing out 10, of course, that gives us 8 pi over 10, 8 pi over 18, pardon me. And then we reduce it one more time. We can divide everything by 2, and that's going to give us 4 pi over 9 radians. And that's how we're going to be expected to express this angle in radians. All right, how about the other way around? What would we do if we were asked to convert? Let's find a good angle. Let's convert. We did this one earlier. 7 pi over 6 radians to degrees. Well, in this case, we're going to do it the other way around. 7 pi over 6 radians this time is multiplied by the conversion factor 180 over pi. And the good way of thinking about this is that for every 180 degrees there are pi radians. We're taking 7 pi over 6 radians, multiplying it by that so radians would cancel out. And by the way, the nice thing about this fraction form is that pi divides out, and we're left with something like 7 times 180 divided by 6. And we should reduce, obviously, as much as possible. And we note that 6 will go into 18, and 6 will go into 180 30 times, right? So we're left with 30, and so we would have to take 7 times 30, which we recognize to be 210 degrees exactly. So 7 pi over 6 is the equivalent of 210 degrees. Well, there you go. Converting from degrees to radians or converting from radians to degrees, very straightforward.